I would just like to welcome Fighting Blindness Chairman, Professor Brendan Buckley, back live, who will briefly explain how members can influence the change that we are advocating for. Over to you, Brendan.
Thank you very much, Neil. I've found this morning to be really inspirational, and particularly the contrast between our friends, one of whom is still waiting for a treatment to prevent his descent into complete blindness, contrasted with another friend from the north of England who has access to this and who is living testament to the fact that it works. This was really struck me very, very deeply. Fighting Blindness will be 40 years old. Imagine that, in just over a year's time. Its founders decided that instead of sitting around and cursing the darkness, they would light a candle. They were brave enough to imagine, they dared to imagine, that blindness could be fought and that we might be able to cure it. And they were right. Since that time, almost 40 years ago, there have been considerable advances in a lot of areas. I'm thinking macular edema, diabetic retinopathy. These have had considerable effects from treatments that have been developed over that period of time. Closer to home, the development of treatment is something that this charity has a lot to be proud of. The pounds and euros raised by our members and friends and volunteers over that 30 years funded much of the science that has led to the gene therapy Luxturna. I think it's true to say that Luxturna would have been delayed for years, or its equivalent would have been delayed for years, but for the research funded, especially in Trinity College Dublin, by Fighting Blindness. So it is an incredible irony that Irish people, pivotal in the development of the treatment, are now more or less at the back of the queue to access this treatment. This, to me, is extraordinary and is really very offensive. Ireland is very poor at giving access to treatments for rare diseases, even though we're a very rich country. And in there, I think we have to really examine our national consciences about our priorities. So the thing about a members' charity like this is that we have to row and pull together. So I'm going to make a few asks of you all. Firstly, that you continue to support us. We're nothing without you. Secondly, to remember that life is political and we all have TDs. And in an electoral system such as we have, with many seats that are hanging on a few hundred votes, governments stand or fall on the basis of the acceptability of candidates in general elections. And finally, I think we need to demonstrate that we are a charity with considerable activity among its members. We have our annual general meeting coming up on the 4th of December. It's a Saturday. It'll be on Zoom, and you'll be receiving notice about it very soon. And I would really wish that you all would attend this. This isn't some kind of pro forma box-ticking exercise. It's important that we can demonstrate that this is a strong charity with a major groundswell of support from its members, and that we need to know that what we're doing is something that you approve of strongly. So Silent majorities don't get us anywhere in this day and age. We need everybody to come and demonstrate to the outside world that we are strong, we are a charity that is supported by its members. I have enormous hope for the future. What would have been science fiction to me as a scientist 40 years ago is now science fact. And considerable advances are constantly being made in the development of cures, particularly for inherited retinal disease. So please help to support us in the ways that I've mentioned, but also please be hopeful. The candle is lit. Let's light more candles. Thank you very much.